Hey guys, Aaron Cybertron Zhang here, and today I'm back with another episode of Road to Ranked for VGC 2018, my online series where I climb the online ladder and provide live commentary as I go. Yesterday was our very first episode with the brand new format in Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, and thank you so much to everyone who supported the video. It's really nice to see so many people come out and watch and support it, and I'm really excited to finally kick off the series like I mentioned yesterday. So I'm not going to talk as much before the episode like I did yesterday. If you want some updates, you can go check out the beginning of yesterday's video, but long story short, I will be doing my best to make these basically daily for the entire season, and I will do that as long as the support for it continues to hold. And the support yesterday was overwhelming, so thank you. And as always, if you guys enjoy the series and want to see more, please show your support by leaving a like in the video. I'd really appreciate it. We've got a sand mirror match to get this episode kicked off. So of course I'm using a sand team of Salamence, Tyranitar, Excadrill, Rotom, Bulu, and Aegislash, and my opponent has 5 of the 6 same Pokemon. The only difference is I have the Aegislash instead of the Volcarona on my opponent's end, so should be very interesting, because whenever you have a sand mirror match, the first thing you always gotta wonder is, like, who's bringing the Tyranitar, who's bringing the Excadrill. Bulu seems like it could be okay, but I'm looking at my Excadrill, and my Excadrill performs like really well against my opponent's team as a whole, other than the Rotom-Wash, so maybe I do want to go with sand this game. Leading Salamence doesn't seem like a bad idea, because I do threaten with Tailwind immediately, and I get to Intimidate should my opponent choose to go with, like, Sand. I'm actually thinking of Salamence Rotom, because Rotom matches up really nicely against my opponent's team as a whole, with T-Tar Excadrill in the back. Yeah, I don't really like Aegislash or Bulu too much here, so I feel like I gotta stick with these 4. I mean, Bulu would be okay in terms of damage output against Excadrill, T-Tar, and Rotom, but it's just, like, really situational, and Aegislash as well is really situational, where it, like, performs really well against certain things and gets wrecked by, like, especially if it's like Z-move T-Tar, which a lot of T-Tars are. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Salamence and Rotom. I trust the lead. That's a lead that I definitely went with a lot back in 2015 as well. So we actually almost have the same outfit too. That's hilarious. Yeah, one of the interesting things is that I don't have a fire type Pokemon on my team, whereas my opponent does with that Volcarona. I went with Aegislash mainly just because I wanted to try out like the Z-move variant, and I had Aegislash on my 2015 team. So this team is definitely not optimized. I'll probably edit it as I go along with the way, just to see what weaknesses I have. But my opponent goes with Salamence and Excadrill, which I would say is okay for me here, because I do get the initial Intimidate. Rotom is also in a pretty darn good position. So Excadrill here, I'm most likely going to want to switch out. My Intimidate goes first, and I am max speed Salamence, so unfortunately it doesn't tell me how fast my opponent's Salamence is. I also don't have Draco Meteor, I have Tailwind instead, and I feel like most Salamences actually probably don't carry Draco Meteor, so if my opponent is carrying that, that would be pretty bad for me, especially if we actually do speed tie. So turn 1, I'm inclined to just go for the Tailwind. I think Excadrill probably wants to switch out here. I would probably prefer to knock out the Excadrill, but I think it switches out. So I'm going to Mega Evolve, I'm going to Tailwind, and I think Salamence probably just goes for maybe a Tailwind of its own. I kind of want to Will-O-Wisp the Excadrill slot, because it covers for switch outs as well. And I think I'm actually going to do that. I want to apply up more pressure to that slot, just because Salamence doesn't do too much to my T-Tar and Excadrill in the back. And right now, Excadrill's in an awkward position, so I want to be in a point where I either just get a burn off against it, or it switches out into something which takes a burn. The one Pokemon that could come in is Volcarona, but switching in Volcarona seems kind of risky against a Rotom. And Excadrill actually stays in, so this implies that it's either just going to go straight for a Protect, or going to go for an attack. So we'll see. Excadrill does Protect. Salamence actually chooses not to Mega Evolve on my opponent's end, which is interesting. Conserving the Intimidate, that makes sense. I suppose, I mean, that's the only reason, really. And it does go for a Tailwind event, okay. So, I mean, I'll take that, because, like, my opponent now has to switch out the Excadrill, more or less. Or, stay in, obviously. But if you stay in, you're not really going to get any mileage off that. So I'm definitely launching a Hyper Voice off here. The question is what I want to do with Rotom. I could go for a Hydro Pump. Let's see, Hyper Voice does neutral. It's super effective against Vulcan Bulu. I think my opponent might have T-Tar in the back, if I had to guess, like T-Tar Rotom. So I'm more inclined to just Thunderbolt the Salamence slot this time around. Just because that's, like, more guaranteed. Salamence could Protect, but I'm gonna go for a Thunderbolt. Just because I don't know what's on the Excadrill slot. Salamence, Excadrill actually stays in, wow, okay. I was not expecting that, but that's fine. Just, like, had I Hydro Pumped or Will-O-Wisp that would have been really good for me. It's kind of a surprising play, to be honest, but that's fine. Like, Rock Slide at -1 shouldn't be doing too much to me. We'll see if my opponent's Salamence does have the Draco Meteor, though. It doesn't, which is good. Double edging Rotom. Huh. And just rock sliding. Okay. Either my opponent was committing to like... Oh, that's a crit. That sucks. Yeah, that really sucks, actually. Without that crit, like, things would be looking really good. Hopefully I actually don't knock out Salamence here. Okay, nice. Yeah, so the reason why the crit's annoying is because without the crit, like, had I knocked out Salamence, T-Tar could come in and I'd still be fine. But it looks like my Salamence has outsped my opponents consistently, so I'm just going to Hyper Voice this time around and go for the Hydro Pump to try to knock out Excadrill. If Excadrill protects, that's fine. Salamence actually switches out, so maybe T-Tar coming in? Yeah. That's also perfectly fine, as long as I connect with this Hydro Pump. Of course, my opponent could choose to protect here. But the more important thing is that Excadrill is still intimidated, and my opponent doesn't protect, so that's really good if I connect this Hydro Pump / don't get flinched. And Excadrill is slowly getting chipped away by Hyper Voice as well. Does just go for the Rock Slide. And that's where the crit hurts, because had my opponent not crit, then I would not be in a position where Salamence would get knocked out. Having Salamence for the remainder of the game would have been nice, but as long as I don't get flinched here, or as long as I connect the Hydro Pump and knock out the Excadrill, I'm still in a really good position, so let's see. Hydro Pump does connect, nice. So yeah, I don't know, it's been a kind of weird game. I feel like the turn where my opponent just double-edged Rotom and Rock Slided was kind of curious, but me getting crit made it so that it ended up working out alright. But I'll take that trade because now my opponent doesn't have Excadrill, and I feel like Excadrill is probably the best Pokemon in this matchup for both of us. So with that, I gotta figure out who I want to switch into. I'm actually more inclined to go into Tyranitar just because I don't know my opponent's last Pokemon. I am Scarfed. Though I guess my opponent could be Scarfed as well. Yeah, I go into Excadrill to be safer. Just because I know I guaranteed outspeed the Tyranitar. I just don't know what the Salamence's last move is. But it's, or it's Rotom coming in. Okay. That's actually pretty scary. Okay, I think I can probably survive a Hydro Pump. I mean, I don't know what item the T-Tar has, so I think I'm going to protect this turn with my Excadrill. And go for a Thunderbolt into my opponent's Rotom. Yeah. Like, Iron Head should be a knockout onto the Excadrill, but I don't know whether Tyranitar wants to protect here or not, so I want to scout out for that. Yep, it goes for it. Nice. Alright, so that's a good sign. Also, confirm that it's not Scarf, which is good news for me. Rotom is faster on my opponent's end, also good to confirm that. So, lots of good information, and T-Bolt plus Sand is going to do some nice damage. I actually get a crit there, which is surprising, because the Rotom is faster. Although I don't really have any bulk, so I guess that shouldn't be, like, too shocking. But that ends up working out nicely for me, because now I can just Iron Head safely into the Tyranitar slot, and it either gets knocked out or switches into Salamence and gets knocked out, and both work out pretty nicely for me. I'm just going to Thunderbolt Rotom again. So the Protect last turn was pretty key, just to really scout out. My opponent is just sacking the Tyranitar, which is good news for me here, because now my Scarftar in the back, I think, should be able to close out the game just by launching Rock Slides. Although, actually, Salamence on my opponent's end should still be faster. Actually, it looks like I can't really tell how fast that Salamence is, and that's a text message. Sorry. And it looks like that is the 50% berry, too. So I'm running Citrus instead, because I'm more comfortable with it. Hydro Pump does connect. Let's see if this knocks me out. Oh, it actually does get the knockout. Okay, I wasn't too sure because I have a lot of HP investment, but I still feel pretty good about my position because I've still got a Scarftar. And Rotom doesn't have its berry anymore. Salamence is already chipped out pretty low. And Salamence has a pretty awful matchup against Rotom and Tyranitar, unless it has Draco Meteor or Earthquake. And we've already seen Double Edge Tailwind. Normally you run Protect and Hyper Voice. So if this, like, given that it might not even be max speed Salamence, I might outspeed it, but even if it were, like, I feel okay. So I'm just gonna Rock Slide. I do need to connect with my Rock Slide, which is obviously the scary thing, but we'll see if we can pull it off. Yeah, this has been a weird game. We ended up bringing the same 4 Pokemon, I believe, right? T-Tar, Excadrill, Rotom, and Salamence, but slight different sets, and I had a lead advantage, although I didn't really get to capitalize too much off it because my opponent actually stayed in with Excadrill. That's still surprising to me, just because I feel like Excadrill is the best Pokemon for both of us in this matchup. So I had the advantage early on, but then my opponent, because I switched in Excadrill instead of Tyranitar, had the advantage of Rotom coming out. So that was something I probably should have considered a little bit more. But right now, it is a tight battle. Obviously, we're both down to 2 Pokemon, but I feel okay about my positioning. Salamence actually just opts to Protect, which is fine. Rotom might try to go for like a Will-O-Wisp, or maybe just launch a Hydro Pump, but as long as I connect with this Rock Slide, we'll be good. Nice. Yeah, so I think Rock Slide plus T-Bolt plus Sand might just knock out Rotom, but even if not, like, I've got another turn. Actually, just launches a Hydro Pump. Okay. So that could be interesting if Salamence actually is faster and if it has Earthquake. That's like the only way. And I think there's still another turn of Sand, so like Rotom will faint from Sand this next turn. Yeah. And I'm calm, so I should survive with Thunderbolt. This is the last turn of Sandstorm, so actually, yeah, if Salamence has Earthquake here, I actually might lose. We'll see. If it doesn't have Earthquake, though, then there's nothing my opponent can really do, because you can't knock out Tyranitar right now. So I will just Rock Slide, and I might even survive an Earthquake, but if I don't, let's see. Yeah, I'll just, a Thunderbolt. Oh, I'm faster anyway. Okay. That was kind of anticlimactic. That's what I figured, though, because Salamence clearly didn't look like it was max speed, and it seems to be a little bit bulkier, given that it took my Hyper Voice and Thunderbolt. So, yeah, that was a pretty scary game. I don't think I played that well. I think lead-wise, I definitely made the right call, but I'm, like, kind of angry at myself for not nailing the Excadrill, the opportunity I had, and then when I brought in my Excadrill instead of my Tyranitar, that was scary. But the reason why I brought in Excadrill over Tyranitar was because I figured if my opponent was Scarftar and max speed as well, then we'd be trading 50-50s on who would win the speed tie. And if I just lost Tyranitar to like a superpower on the opposing Scarftar, that'd be really bad. So I figured with Excadrill, at least I can play my way around the situation. Unfortunately, it worked out for me when Tyranitar went for the Protect, trying to really bait out the attack from my Excadrill. I'm curious about that Rotom's, like how much investment it had in special attack relative to bulk, because it took attacks pretty well, but granted, like, yeah, my Rotom doesn't exactly have that much investment in special attacks, so I shouldn't be expecting it to do that much, but still, I was pretty impressed, and we're going up against a Rain team for our next game today, so this is going to be an interesting one. Double Rain setters with Pelipper and the Politoed, and then you've got 3 Swift-Swim users in Kingdra, Ludi, and Swampert, and the Ferrothorn. Oh, this is really scary. My opponent locks in already immediately. Looks like he or she knows what they want to do. This is really tricky. Obviously, Tyranitar is important. I definitely don't think I bring Excadrill. Salamence is tempting if I can get a Tailwind up. I definitely don't lead Tyranitar. I think I'm gonna go Salamence, Rotom, T-Tar, Bulu. It's just tough because Aegislash can take water type attacks decently well, and with the Z move, it's quite nice. But I feel like I kind of need to bring Bulu against a Rain team, right? So maybe I don't bring Rotom, but Rotom against Rain also seems really good. It's just, with this, I'm kind of weak to Ludicolo. That's my one concern. I could lead Bulu instead, actually. Just like, who do I think is going to try to set up the Rain? I actually kind of like leading Bulu more here. This could be a mistake, but let's see how it goes. Oh no, I'm running out of time. What I learned in yesterday's episode is I need to get used to this new timer. So I'm going to go Salamence, Bulu, T-Tar, Rotom. Okay. Let's see how this plays out. I don't like this matchup too much. If my opponent only had one Rain user, I'd feel a lot better. There's also the Ferrothorn, which is quite scary, so I have to play around it through a mix. Like, conserving Salamence is actually going to be really important. Specifically for Ferrothorn, or getting, like, basically I need to be in a position where I can, like, Hyper Voice superpower it, or or burn it with Rotom. We see Pelipper, Kingdra. Okay, so Pelipper is the Rain user my opponent opts for. Double shiny lead. So I guess Rotom would have been better. I was hoping to see the Politoed instead, thinking my opponent might be more scared to bring Pelipper because I've got the Tyranitar. This makes this pretty interesting though immediately, just because I gotta wonder if my opponent brought in Politoed as well. That's like my first question. Because if not, what I really want to do is switch Salamence out into T-Tar. And just try to knock out Pelipper. Because I feel like you probably want a Tailwind here for my opponent. Yeah, I'm going to switch into Tar. And go straight for a Woodhammer. Yeah, I think Woodhammer plus Sand should knock out Pelipper. I'm max attack Bulu. This is kind of risky. I mean, I could get, like, Hurricane, but of course Hurricane can miss, too. I just don't want Salamence in front of a Kingdra right now. So, let's see. Kingdra Ice Beams. Okay. Did it target Bulu? No. Nice. Alright, no freeze, please. Wait, I'm faster with Bulu. Oh, wow. Okay. And it's not sashed! Okay. That works out really nicely. I love how fast the HP Mars move. That definitely makes games go faster. But yeah, that was really surprising. I mean, my Bulu doesn't have that much speed investment. It's like I have some Tailwind numbers that I worked with when I EV'd it. But I'll take that turn 1. And not seeing the Focus Sash on Pelipper was shocking. I was expecting Pelipper to survive, and Ludicolo's coming in, so gotta wonder if my opponent even has Rain in the back. So that's my other question right now. Ludicolo is kind of a nuisance. This is where if I had Aegislash, it'd be quite nice. I mean, I kind of just want to Rock Slide here. But if there is Rain in the back, I feel like I should conserve Tyranitar, so I'm going to switch out into Rotom this time around. And I'm just going to protect Bulu. Yeah, I'm just going to scout out for whether my opponent has Politoed or not. I feel like the fact Ludi comes in here means that my opponent only brought one Rain user, though, which would bode well for me. No switch outs here either, so I'm like fairly confident there's no Politoed in the back. We actually just see the Fake Out come out. Okay. And a... Ooh. So Kingdra has Rain Dance. Okay, so switching out was good. You'd be inclined to Giga Drain Rotom. I wonder if my opponent Rain Dances again with Kingdra. I want to double switch out into Salamence T-Tar right now. I'm just worried about Kingdra Rain Dancing again. I think the better play actually might be to just switch into Salamence, because it's highly unlikely I get Ice Beamed in that slot. And just go for an attack with Bulu. Yeah, that makes the most sense, I think. And I'm just going to try to Bloom Doom the Kingdra. And the reasoning behind this is if Kingdra does Rain Dance again, expecting T-Tar to come in, then I'll get the knockout most likely, because I guess Ludi could actually just Ice Beam my Bulu. But the important thing is I think Salamence comes in safely, and then I can Hyper Voice Rock Slide this next turn. Oh, Kingdra just Ice Beams. Okay, targets the Bulu slot. And I actually survive. Double Ice Beam. Is that going to Bulu again? Yeah. Okay, so that's fine. Basically, this plays out the way I... Like, that wasn't the best case scenario, in the sense that if I got the Z move off against Kingdra, I'd be in a phenomenal position, but now I'm just going to switch T-Tar back in. And I can just go for Hyper Voice and Assurance to get a knockout onto the Kingdra. I guess I gotta wonder whether I want to lock myself into Assurance. I'm pretty sure Hyper Voice plus Assurance should knock out, though. Yeah, I'm gonna go for it. Hyper Voice and the only downside is that Kingdra could protect right now. But I can't let Rain go up again. So this has been a really crazy battle. Like, Kingdra having Rain Dance really saved my opponent. I think without Rain being able to go up again, I most certainly would have this game won. That was a nice double Ice Beam play last turn by my opponent as well. Alright, let's see. No Protect. Okay, that's good. That's already good. Okay. I do over 50. I feel like Assurance should knock out Kingdra here. Yeah, okay. This is still scary. Yeah, Ludi's just gonna Ice Beam me. I think if my opponent's last Pokemon is Ferrothorn, I'm still in a pretty bad spot, actually. Because I locked myself into Assurance. I mean, Assurance is the only thing I can really lock myself into. Oh, boy. The last one could be Pert as well. If it's Pert, it'll be more interesting, because I can burn it. I don't think an Assurance even knocks out Ludicolo, actually. I might actually still lose this, then. I should have conserved Bulu better, actually, in retrospect, I think. It is Swampert. Okay, I'd rather see Swampert than... what was I going to say? I'd rather see Swampert than the Ferrothorn, I think. Just because Rotom wins 1v1 against Swampert. But Ludi right now has the grassy terrain still going for it. It's the last turn of it. Sandstorm still's got a couple of turns. I'm inclined to just Protect here. And Assurance Ludicolo. I also don't know who's faster between Rotom and Ludi. I would assume Ludi. Yeah, I mean, this is a tough call. But I think I'm just going to Protect Assurance, the Ludi. And if I knock out Ludi, I think I win. Because I think Rotom should win 1v1 against the Swampert. But maybe I should have just Rock Slided. Rock Slide wouldn't have knocked out Kingdra, though, which is why. You know, Tailwind actually might have been the best play. Yeah, that's tricky. Alright, so I'll Protect Rotom. No Protects coming out from my opponent, so I'm going to get the Assurance off, but don't think this knocks Ludicolo out. Oh, it does! Oh, that's excellent. Nice. Okay, so now it's a 1v1. Actually, I might survive this. No, I don't. That would have been that's a shame, because had I not protected, I could have just gotten the Will-O-Wisp off against Swampert. It's gonna be close. I don't know what Swampert's full moveset is. I'm gonna go for the burn here. Maybe I should just Hydro Pump instead. But the thing is, with the burn, its damage, like, it just doesn't do any damage. Like, it has to basically Rock Slide or Ice Punch right now. Or Waterfall, but none of those should do too much. Huh? Okay, that one definitely doesn't make sense. Maybe my opponent just forgot about Levitate or timed out? I don't know. That more or less was a throw. Although I was already in a pretty good position to begin with. But I'm not too fond about how I played this game, and I'll talk about why afterwards, but that was a really weird decision. I'm going to Protect just because I've got Recovery with Citrus now too, so I don't mind that I'm taking Sandstorm damage. We've seen Earthquake, we saw Waterfall, so like normally a Swampert, a Mega Pert set will have Ice Punch or Rock Slide, so I was worried about getting frozen by Ice Punch or getting flinched by Rock Slide or Waterfall. And it's just going for Waterfall, yeah. So that's why I felt pretty confident about winning the game after I knocked out the Ludicolo, because I have the advantage, because I have Recovery, and he does way less damage to me than I do to him. So, yeah, I'm just going to alternate between Hydro Pumps and Protects at this point. We'll see how, yeah. So, it looks like there's no Rock Slide or Ice Punch, just Waterfall. And, yeah, that does so little damage. It did 20 damage. I do miss a Hydro Pump, but that's honestly fine at this point because Swampert is taking burn damage every turn, and I have Recovery with Citrus Berries. So, I won this game, but I'm not very happy about how I played it because, I don't know, it was a tough matchup to begin with, and I had a really good advantage, but the Rain Dance on Kingdra was definitely really good. And the other issue was the fact that I played... It does have Rock Slide. I feel like you should be going for Rock Slide. Like, my opponent should have just been clicking the Rock Slide button the entire time from the beginning until the end. But, yeah, the reason why I wasn't too fond about how I played was because of the fact that I didn't really consider the endgame very well, / what my opponent's last Pokemon could have been. And Ferrothorn would have been a major issue for me. Kind of surprised my opponent didn't bring it, to be honest. Yeah. And my opponent does get the flinch, and I haven't hit a Hydro Pump yet, so Rotom still not getting an attack off, but me having the berry means that I'm not really that worried still. It's already taking all this damage. That's why I wanted to go for Will-O-Wisp originally, actually, as well. Just because with flinch chances from Waterfall and Rock Slide, I was more concerned about that. But, yeah, I kind of want to just, finish this game. I would like to play a third game today, since it's been kind of fast so far. This game is just kind of dragging out, but I feel like I've got it won, unless my opponent, like, crit flinches me 4 turns consecutively. So let's see. Yep, going for another Rock Slide. No reason not to. This is where if I had like the 50% berry, I'd feel like super confident in my chances of winning. I don't know. I think even with Citrus though, my opponent just needs so much RNG right now to get even have a chance of this. And even with all that RNG, I might still just win, but I just hit 1 Hydro Pump. That's all I needed to win this game. Yeah, Burn now definitely will take care of things. So, just Protect again to be safe, avoid getting crit twice, and that should be game. Yeah, I mean, that really came down to whether my Tyranitar could knock out the Ludicolo. I wasn't sure whether it would with Assurance or not. And the Rain Dance was really cool. Like, once again, the reason why Rain Dance is really good for my opponent was because, against Sand, like, typically, once you knock out the Weather Use, you're like, alright, I have Weather Control for the remainder of the game. But that wasn't the case here because the Kingdra always threatened with Rain. And so that was a nice double Ice Beam play on my opponent's end. Bulu is really good against my opponent's team, so I'm kind of angry that I let myself just, sacrifice Bulu like that. But, I mean, in retrospect, I still think the play makes sense. The idea behind it was, okay, you either knock out Bulu, and then so I get the free switch into T-Tar, or you try to go for a Rain Dance again. And I would have, if I were in my opponent's position, considered Rain Dancing just to... Because if you get to Rain Dance when Tyranitar is switching in, that, like, wins the game more or less. That's a, obviously kind of a risky play when Rain was already up, but... Being able to set up the Rain on a Tyranitar switch-in means Tyranitar is forced to switch back out, and you get basically 1 full turn of momentum offensively. So, yeah. I'm going to look for a third game. We're starting out with the series, so might as well play a little bit more, get acclimated with the team. So, yeah, I don't know. I like the team. I definitely don't think I've played very well with it so far, and we're like, what, 3-1 in our first 4 games in the series, but, yeah, to me, what's more important is learning really from all the games. So, we're going to find Archer from Japan for our third opponent of the day, running a team of Naganadel. People told me how to pronounce it in yesterday's comment section, but clearly I didn't learn my lesson. Charizard, Landorus, Tapu Fini, Aegislash, and the Whimsicott. So, Whimsicott's really scary. Man, I hate this new Ultra Beast. Makes things a lot trickier. Huh. This one is a really interesting one. I could just go with weather. Like, the lead I typically like to go with is Salamence T-Tar. Don't see much reason to deviate from that here. I feel like Excadrill is still really good. Definitely not going to want Bulu. So it's once again between Aegislash and Rotom, which seems to be a pretty common trend. I'm actually leaning a little bit more towards Aegislash this time. It just means that my matchup against Landers is a lot worse. So, like, do I want to sacrifice my Landers matchup? Because having Rotom is, like, just so good against Landers always. Yeah, I feel like it's too good to pass out on Rotom, unfortunately. Just because... And Rotom actually performs, like, exceptionally well against Charizard, too, if you have the Sand up. Just because Charizard in Sand doesn't do anything against Rotom. I don't know. It's a tough one. Like, in a best of 3, I would definitely consider bringing Aegislash after, like, the first game. But in best of 1 mentality, I'm thinking, you know, Landers, you normally want to bring against Sand, because it just matches up so well against T-Tar Excadrill, and I'm bringing both of those. So, I'm going to bring, you know, the best counter to what my opponent might want to use to counter me. So, alright, let's see how this one goes. Yeah, just... Whimsicott's always, like, one of the most, I think, scary Pokemon to go up against in VGC Best of 1. Because you just have no idea what it's carrying. And Whimsicott's a Pokemon that literally has, like, 15 usable moves, and all are pretty good on it, depending on the team that it's on. Tailwind is normally the one to expect, but there's just so much versatility in it. So, I'll go with Salamence T-Tar to get the Intimidate, set up the Sand. We're going to see Whimsicott Charizard. Alright. That is pretty interesting to me. I would say I actually like this for me. I like this a lot, actually. Like, sure, my opponent is going to get rid of the Sand, but I don't really need the Sand that much right now. I guess the only concern is... I mean, Whimsicott doesn't really have any terrains to take advantage of either. I think I'm just going to Mega Evolve Tailwind and Rock Slide. Oh, maybe I should have Mega Evolve, actually, to conserve the Intimidate. Yeah. Because I'm probably going to want to switch Salamence out after this turn anyway. So I'm just going to Tailwind Rock Slide. Yeah. Reason being is Whimsicott could Encore me, so I don't want to get Encored. So since I'm considering switching out after this turn anyway, might as well. Charizard probably protects or switches out here, but he does Mega Evolve. That in itself is interesting. Actually, I like that. Thinking about it, just because now you have a weather user that you can switch out, even if you're protecting this turn. Charizard doesn't protect here, though. I'm in a really good spot. Being able to knock that out would be really nice. Yeah, it does protect. I mean, I feel like you kind of have to here. But it's still fine regardless of what Whimsicott's going for. It does Tailwind, yeah. So, by me matching Tailwind, this Charizard's still going to be slower than my Tyranitar, which is nice. Hopefully I connect with this Rock Slide. Nice. So that's good. I do want to switch out and switch back in eventually. I just... Like, the thing is, if you Encore me, it means Charizard is either going to stay in and eat the Rock Slide. I feel like, you know I'm Scarf, so you definitely switch out Charizard. So I'm going to switch into Rotom because I think Landers might be coming in. And I'm just going to go for another Rock Slide here. Yeah. I don't think Tyranitar faints this turn. I'm probably going to want to switch it out next turn into my Salamence. Yeah, the one main scary thing about... Yep, Charizard switches out. About Whimsicott is you never know whether it's carrying offense or not. Landers is coming in. So I've called it correctly thus far, but that doesn't mean I'm in a superb position. What I need to do is make sure Excadrill is actually useful in this matchup. That's going to be important. And there's the Encore. Yeah. Don't miss, please. Why do I jinx myself? Okay, that's still okay, though. I mean, I'll get some free damage off. Not really that great. But that's fine. Hitting Whimsicott would have been nice just because it'd be in KO range, but I can't complain too much. I'm just worried now that Whimsicott has something like Moonblast, because that would be pretty bad for me. I'm going to try to burn Landers, I think, here with the Will-O-Wisp, because Hydro Pump's not knocking it out anyway. Switching into Salamence here is pretty risky if my opponent does have, like, Moonblast, but if Whimsicott doesn't have Moonblast, then Salamence is a great switch in here. I feel like I do want to switch out T-Tar, though, because I've baited out the Landers, which was what I was going for. So far, like, the game has played out, like, I feel like I've played it as well as I could have, but I'm still not in a really great position in the sense that I don't know what Whimsicott's carrying, and that is the most terrifying thing in the world. Totally could have, like, you know, Grass Knot or Energy Ball, totally could have Moonblast, both which would threaten Rotom and T-Tar, or Salamence. But if it doesn't have any offense, then I'm in a really good spot because you're not really doing anything. If I get the burn on the Landers too, that'd be really nice. I considered staying in, but because like switching out is so obvious, but I feel like it's still the more optimal play. Fake Tears, that's pretty cool. Oh, is this special Landers T? No, it's not. Huh. Fake Tears is interesting there then. So maybe it is offensive. Alright, please don't miss. Okay, nice. Yeah, with Fake Tears coming out and Superpower, so I'm glad I switched out there. That also works out nicely. I think I'm going to switch Rotom into Excadrill here. And I'm going to Hyper Voice. Yeah. So, given that we've seen Tailwind, Encore, and Fake Tears, Whimsicott can only have one attacking move, which is already good to lock down. But Hyper Voice is very free here right now for me. And I'm going to switch Rotom out because I think Whimsicott might have, say, Grass Knot or a Grass type attack. And it is Aegislash coming in. Okay, so that's good to confirm as my opponent's last one. Especially because I switched an Excadrill here as well. So, I don't know. Like, Aegislash is always really tricky because it has Wide Guard, and I have a lot of spread type attacks on my team. So this is going to be pretty big. If I can knock out the Whimsicott, that'd be really good for me. I'm still worried that Whimsicott's going to Moonblast the Salamence because I don't know its last attack. So we'll see if it has it or not. Nope, it just Encores. Wow. Wow. Okay. I mean, I'm obviously happy about that. Knocking out Whimsicott's really huge, just because now I can get full speed control for the remainder of the game, so that in itself is pretty good. So I'm really happy. Yeah, both their Tailwinds expire, but I really haven't taken too much damage yet, which is good for me, obviously. So, solid first couple of turns. Yeah, in the sense that I feel like I played them as well as I could have. With Charizard coming in here, what I'm going to do is switch into T-Tar. And go for... I don't really even need to Tailwind, to be honest. I might just Hyper Voice. Just to get more chip damage off against both Pokemon. I mean, I guess Tailwind still helps in the long run against the Landorus. It's probably better to just Tailwind. Like, might as well Tailwind because I don't know the Landorus' item, and it very likely could be Scarfed given that it went for a Superpower against me. So, yeah, by bringing in T-Tar, I now put on pressure against both Charizard and Aegislash, and I'll be able to outspeed everything with Rotom as well. And Landorus at this point isn't as much of a threat. Like, obviously, Excadrill's in a really good position to just win against everything right now. Aegislash Wide Guards. Okay, good thing I didn't Hyper Voice then. And gone for a Tailwind instead. Nice. Nice. Alright, everything's working out quite well. Charizard just... You've got to be kidding me, right? Oh my... That just happened. That really just happened. He Focus Blasted me and he hit. Oh my gosh, I feel like I've been playing really well this game too. I mean, I'm still in a decent spot, but it was just like... What? Okay. I'll bring in Excadrill now. Actually, maybe no. I bring in Rotom, yeah. So the nice thing is, because I got Tailwind up, that actually helps me. That's actually a really big loss for me, though. Wow, Focus Blast. That was a nice read, though. Obviously, Focus Blasting instead of, like, Heat Waving, expecting T-Tar to come in. It was a pretty obvious switch in, so... Very nicely done. Okay, Charizard either protects or switches out here. Wow, that actually changes the dynamics of the game so much. That's crazy. I thought maybe I could survive because of the Sandstorm boost, but Charizard's strong. God. It's just frustrating. You miss, and I probably just win the game right there, but can't focus about that right now. This turn's really tricky. I'm going to Hydro Pump, and I'm actually going to protect Salamence to see what the Charizard does. It doesn't switch out. Okay, so I think that means it's protecting. Let's see. Yeah. And this is good because Aegislash is switching into Sword form as well. So, I think this covers all my options unless it's Ghost DMZ and it targets Rotom. There's the Ghost DMZ. Oh my god. This is what I mean. You can play really well for a couple of turns, but if your opponent just has a better matchup in terms of Pokemon, it can be really tricky. You would think this would want to go into Salamence. So I have no idea who it's targeting right now. You made the call and targeted Rotom too. Jeez. Can I survive this? Let's see. Yeah, I do survive. Okay. Cool. We know it has Wide Guard too, and that's the other really big issue. You would think Charizard most likely wants to switch out right now. I mean, you've really got to switch out Charizard into Landorus, right? I don't remember. Landorus isn't that low. I could just Hydro Pump. Hydro Pump Hyper Voice. That seems kind of risky, but Aegislash surely King Shields here. I'm gonna go for it, yeah. See if Charizard stays in or not. I mean, I'd prefer probably for Charizard to stay in, because then he just gets knocked out. And then Landorus would come in. It does switch out, yeah. That was relatively obvious. So I'm going to get Intimidated, but I'll knock out Landorus. The main thing is I want to get another Tailwind up. If I get another Tailwind up, then that sets up my Excadrill in the back. Yeah, there's the King Shield. Okay, so if I connect Hydro Pump, please connect Hydro Pump, I'll be really good. Wow, this game got so crazy with the Focus Blast. This is probably going to be like a 40-minute episode, but what the heck, it's the second episode. Why not, guys? I'll give you 3 full games. In the future, I'll make them, like, I normally aim for 2 games, but please connect. Please connect. Thank you. Okay, so that's good. I just can't believe it actually has Focus Blast, man. That's crazy. Excadrill is still really tricky to deal with, but at least it doesn't have the Z move anymore, and Salamence is still decently healthy. Like, I probably want to get another Tailwind up this game. Because Charizard definitely has to, like, protect here, I think. Does it? Does it have to protect? I don't know. Getting additional chip damage on Aegislash is kind of negligible, though, so that's not what's really important. I think what I'm going to do is just go for the safest play of Thunderbolting Charizard. Actually... Ooh, this one's tricky. If I'm Aegislash, I probably would not want to knock out Salamence, so I'd probably Shadow Ball it. Thunderbolt and Protect. Does that make sense? Yeah, I think it does. So if I can get another Tailwind up... I don't know, actually. Well, let's see. If Charizard doesn't protect here, that'd actually be better for me. Yeah, it has to. But I feel like I have to protect with Salamence because I don't know if I could take a Shadow Ball from Aegislash. Yeah, and now it changes forms too. I wish I had Earthquake here. This is a really crazy game. Makes the call, targets Rotom too. Okay. My Tailwind peters out. Switch in Excadrill. I think I might lose this now. Was there anything I could have really done though? I mean, okay, so Charizard Fire type attacks me, Aegislash just Shadow Balls. So it's a question of what Fire type attack Charizard has. Yeah, I think I gotta protect Tailwind. Salamence probably goes down here. Like, if my opponent has Heat Wave, you just Heat Wave Shadow Ball. So I would need a miss. Yeah. I'm going to protect and Tailwind. My opponent played really well with Aegislash. Aegislash is kind of tricky for me to deal with. I'm also running out of time. Alright, so I'm going to protect. Focus Blast, man. Yeah, so no protect from Aegislash, which is the correct play. There's a Heat Wave. I needed to miss. It does connect. That's probably game then. Although, I could still win if my opponent misses. And Shadow Ball coming out. Yeah. I could still win if my opponent misses the... I think... Sorry, I was thinking about what I could have done better if they missed the Heat Wave. Because you probably just Wide Guard and... I would Wide Guard and just Heat Wave right now. I guess I could flinch with Iron Head, but no, I think I should just go for the knockout onto Aegislash and hope for a miss. Oh, is it just double protecting? Yeah. And unfortunately, Draw Run's actually Contact, so... Now I definitely lose the game, actually. Yeah, that was a safe, smart play from my opponent's end. I think it's like you can King Shield and then wide guard safely, but you can't do it the other way around. Man, that's crazy. I'm so sad. I feel like I played pretty well this game too, but I'm trying to figure out what I could have done better. Predicted Focus Splash Charizard, I guess. I guess I can hope my opponent throws and doesn't expect Rock Slide at this point, or doesn't wide guard, and I still knock out Charizard. Yeah, of course you're gonna wide guard. Oh, very good game. I don't know. What could I have done better? Like, losing Tyranitar was so bad in this matchup, because it threatens Rock Slide, but it also threatens with Assurance against the Aegislash. So, yeah, not much I could have done there in the endgame other than my opponent playing, like, a throwing, but I'm trying to figure out, like, the in-between of the game. Like, after I got Focus Blasted, how could I have recovered? Obviously, I played kind of bad with Rotom, but it was, like, I don't know if that really mattered. I think what I needed to do was basically switch in Excadrill and set up Tailwind. Yeah. Like, if I had brought in Excadrill while Tailwind was still up, I'd put on more pressure, because then I wouldn't have to try to set up a Tailwind again. What really came down was that, like, I didn't really have any great tools to deal with Aegislash, because I lost Tyranitar, which was one of my best answers, so I was getting a lot of free damage off. And then Excadrill without the Sand Up meant that the Charizard would outspeed me, which was also a pretty big issue. So that was a really crazy game, and I think it goes to show that you can, like, outpredict your opponent for a couple of turns, but all it takes is, like, one really big turn for your opponent to come through. And the Focus Splash Charizard on my opponent's end definitely was a very cool tech, and it proved useful. Like, I actually went back and re-watched the video after the original recording, so I'm adding this as a little, like, additional ending just to give some more insight, since you know, anytime I lose, I really want to look at what I could have done better. And basically, like, the way I think the battle worked was that obviously the momentum was completely on my side up until the Focus Blast turn, and then once I lost Tyranitar, I made a decision to switch in Rotom-Wash instead of Excadrill. The reason why I switched in Rotom was because I knew that Landorus would probably switch in had I brought in Excadrill, and I wanted to bait the Landorus, or I really wanted to just to put on some more pressure with Rotom, because I knew it could continuously target down the Charizard slot. That might not have been the best decision, and I was scared of bringing Excadrill, because had I brought in Excadrill, you know, Aegislash can King Shield, which means if I Drill Run into it, I'll lose my attack, and Charizard can still launch a Heat Wave into it, whatnot. My game plan was really bad after I lost Tyranitar. You know, I ended up setting up Tailwind, and then I ended up just really clicking buttons. I think what I really should have focused more on was getting a knockout on one thing. Basically, if I knock out Charizard, then my opponent's stuck with Landorus and Aegislash, in which Rotom can knock out the Landorus, and then Excadrill wins. If I knock out the Landorus, then it's just Charizard and Aegislash, and I can still set up Tailwind because my Salamence was relatively healthy. What I was worried about was, like, Scarf Landorus in the back, or not playing well with Excadrill, but by switching in Rotom, I basically got choked out. The other really big thing that ended up determining the battle was that I didn't really get any damage off against Charizard. The turn that I went for a Tailwind and my opponent went for the Focus Blast, was a turn that I actually could have gone for a Double Edge into the Charizard. Double Edge probably two-shots Charizard because it's not very defensive. So if I even get one attack off against Charizard, suddenly it's at the point where it's like, okay, now my Salamence threatens you with a one-hit knockout. Or not a one-hit knockout, but it's going to knock you out from the range that you're in. Instead, because I opted to Tailwind that turn instead of going for the Double Edge, Charizard was relatively healthy, and so I ended up losing the game. Like, I could see what my opponent was going to do, but I really didn't have too many outs. I also mentioned when I was analyzing the game right after I played it, that I could have switched in Excadrill at some point. So, even, like, let's say I don't switch in Excadrill until the turn that I lose Tyranitar, I still could have probably swapped Salamence out into Excadrill, because Salamence really wasn't doing too much up until that point. Sure, I could Hyper Voice, but I have to worry about Wide Guard, and Double Edge isn't doing too much, especially when I'm intimidated, whereas having Excadrill immediately threatens the Aegislash slot, and Rotom threatens the Charizard slot. So I actually played, I would say, really, really sloppy after I lost Tyranitar to Focus Blast. And I think that was, one, me getting super caught off guard by the Focus Blast, and two, not really knowing how to react properly, / not really thinking of an overall end game plan. And so, I think it's pretty tough in general when you're caught off guard, and there are no excuses to make at the end of the day. Like, I just could have played a lot better at the end game, and so I just wanted to throw this on at the end of the video just because I think it's important to analyze what you could have done better. And for me, I like couldn't remember the turns too well, but after watching the game again, I was like, wow, like there were some pretty noticeable turns where I probably could have played a little bit more optimally. The reason why I tailwinded with Salamence was because I didn't know the item on the Landorus, so I wanted to be able to guarantee outspeed it with Rotom and the Excadrill, but perhaps it was a little bit too early and I should have gone for attack instead. So figuring out when to Tailwind is also pretty important. Anyway, I just wanted to throw that analysis out there because I'm sure some of you guys were thinking, oh, this is what you did wrong, or this is what you could have done better. And after rewatching the tape, like that's what I realized I think were some of the key moments. Because I think the first half of the game, I'm pretty happy about how that went. I don't think there was really too much I did wrong, and even losing Tyranitar to Focus Blast, like it's tough to see that coming, right? I still had places where I could have probably positioned myself a lot better, and instead of just kind of clicking buttons with Salamence and Rotom-Wash and being too afraid to switch in the Excadrill. At that point, since I had lost momentum, I probably needed to take a more, bigger risks to really try to claw my way back into it, just because once I lost Tyranitar, the matchup swayed heavily towards my opponent's favor. But yeah, that's my analysis for it. Hopefully it makes some more sense. I think in my mind, those are things that I could have done better. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. 3 full games, a really long episode, but it's, the beginning of the season. Why the heck not? Hopefully you guys enjoyed. As always, leave a like if you did, and I'll catch you guys next time. All right, peace.